So, good morning, Hasna. Thank you so much for, agreeing to speak with me this morning. About your journey, about how your treatment, your cancer treatment affected your hair. I know you talk quite a lot to different audiences, and
Mhm.
obviously we really do appreciate that because it will resonate with somebody somewhere. And so,
Mhm.
you're always helping somebody when you check, when you share your story. So, that's not gone unnoticed. It happened just at the weekend when we played your video. It, people just really resonated with it and asked us to watch it again and again. So, when you speak, it does mean different things to different people. So
Yes,
thank
yes,
you for
yes.
spending time with us
Oh,
this morning.
give thanks, give
Right.
thanks. Thank you so much. Yes, that video is so important, because when it was done very thoughtful. When I was doing it, I thought about representation, and not just representation by skin color, but representation by culture. To mean something that we all understand or take part in, so that video was very powerful. Anyway, so Hasna Difu, 51, um, first diagnosed in 2006, and um, then again in 2010, and then again in 2017. 2017, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And it might sound like stage 4 cancer, the end, dying. But um, I was referred to the Royal Marsden Hospital, and I just wasn't referred like that, to me. And I knew a lot of information, and I was a very informed patient. So I was able to get referred to the Royal Marsden. Since being there, I've been on 5 clinical trials, and it's a long, long road. My song is, even though the road is long, no matter how strong, I know I will make it. Yes, I will make it. So, and sometimes in that space, what I mean, I know and I feel a lot of spirituality, a lot of God, a lot of help with humanity, what I mean, that brings me living on 5 clinical trials alive. And I think one of the things on my journey, not I think, I know one of the things on my journey is that I am able to take a devastating situation. I mean, I was only a young woman in my just turned 30 when I was first diagnosed without even understanding what's all these things. I had children, and I took that devastating situation because I had my family and I had to take it and make it into life. I had to give cancer life. And I'm doing it well, I think, so my children who were then children are now men. So I have a 27, 28-year-old and a 21-year-old. I am a grandmother of 2, and I do have a blessing, magic. I don't know what you want to call it. Anybody out there, however you want to call it a miracle. I call her my miracle girl. I had a baby at the age of 43 years old after all the things that I went through
Yes.
prior, you know.
Yes.
Um, the journey has been wonderful. I mean,
Yeah.
tormenting, very, very tormenting at times. But I I keep on going because one of the things that I know is that my home and the way that I am has never stopped me during my worst times. It has never stopped me. So my home needed me, and it needed me, all of me, and my whole sense, everything. So
Yes,
um I kept that, and that keeps me going. But also along the journey, so in 2006 there was no form of representation, none at all, whatever, especially for a young woman. I mean, I think I was 28 or something like that, 29, something like that. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
yeah,
what are you talking about? So who looks like me? Where am I? Like, so I boldly did a lot of things at that stage. And I'm so privileged now to see where we are reaching, you know what I mean? Like podcasts like yours, speaking about, special topics like this, you know what I mean? And reaching out, because we are getting better at mastering this situation that we have, this epidemic with cancer, you know what I mean? Whichever kind, however, with illness, you know what I mean? And I think for
yes,
me, the journey, my life journey, has taught me how to make something that's very bad into something that's very good. I put that seed in the earth, and then it's a tree and it has fruits. You know what I mean? And it was a
yes,
bad seed. It took
yes.
time, but you know.
It's fine.
So yeah, that's sort of like the story in a nutshell.
Right.
you know?
Thank you for yes, and thank you for sharing it. And a lot of it must be and has been your own personal, your attitude towards it. Because
Yes,
they always say, I always used to hear that saying, glass half empty or glass half full. And it's how
correct.
you look at the situation. So the glass
Yeah.
is the same length, of water what it's
Yep.
got in it, but and it's what you do with that. So, well
100.
done to you for being able
Mhm.
to rise up and say, this is how I'm going to face this situation that
Yeah.
you found yourself in. And
Mm-hmm.
clinical trials obviously give hope because it's great. You get the greatest care. They're always looking for improvements, and improvements will
Yes.
always, you know, it will always be good because that's how
Mm-hmm.
we learn, and that's how they develop sort of
Mm-hmm.
better treatments for people. So we thank you for just your energy because it does it radiates, and it's
Give
almost
thanks.
like
Thank you, Lorna.
yes, it absolutely
I mean,
does. And
I mean, so sometimes, like, sometimes I even ask myself this question, like, how are you doing this? Like, I'm always like asking self, like, and, my self believes in the entire universe was created for
yeah,
me, you know?
very good.
So, So, if the entire universe is created for me, the entire universe would help in sustaining me, And
Yes,
I don't look at it as cancer, you know what I mean? I know it is cancer. I know that,
yeah,
But I
yes,
look at it as, well, I do have the BRCA gene, and which is a whole another topic by itself, and I have triple negative breast cancer. So knowing all of these things, like I often tell everybody, you have this horrible neighbor, you know what I mean? And you just bought your house and they bought their house, but it's your neighbor. And you have to somehow learn to either adapt, tolerate, or just
yes,
turn a blind eye. You know what I
yes,
mean? And with me, when I said to myself, well, I can't do anything about this. This is my genetic incline. You know what I mean? This is what I came into this earth with, and I know for myself that if I treat it as something like, like, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to react in a different way, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I know that I have not accepted, but I know that this is within my journey. I know this is my body. I know this is my life. So I have to know how to manage that correctly to get
Yeah.
the best outcomes because I
Yes.
believe in quality of life, you know what I mean, over
Yeah.
quantity of years, you know what I mean. All the treatment that I've been on and exposed to is I've always asked for it to be that I have good quality of life, that I'm able to still do things and
Yes.
when I'm speaking as well too is one of the things that I know it's that how people feel and how people react, you know what I mean? And it's all a learning experience and all a humbling experience, because it's cancer that brought this, you know what I mean? And it's giving people extra hope, extra, and if this is what my purpose is, I'm very, very happy to do it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well done. Yes. It's we appreciate it. People appreciate it. I saw it at the weekend. I saw it the week before when you spoke. I see it every time um you speak. It inspires people. So
Yeah.
well done for sharing. Now I know
Yeah.
that we talked about your hair and your faith.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to talk
Mm-hmm.
about um how your treatment impacted how you felt when you
Yeah.
understood that the treatment that you'll be on may impact your hair. So if we can start
Yeah.
with your faith at the moment and what it is your hair actually meant to you or means to you.
Well, um, as long as I know myself, like this is from when I was a child, I wanted to be a Rastafarian. I thought that was like one of the most powerful things that you could ever be, because, so my faith is really Rastafarian, and I had in 2006, I had a very, very long locks, locks down to um my calf, and
Wow.
one of the first things, well, I was like, I'm going to lose my hair. Okay. And I kind of was okay with that because I knew that it would grow back. However, the impact that happened, the things that happened along with it, I didn't know that those things was going to happen. So even within my own faith and stuff, you know, because your locks is your identity, you know what I mean? You have a purpose, you wrap your hair, it's a whole, you know, feeling of upliftment,
Yes.
and it didn't, I mean, my locks is not just my hair, it is an extension of me, it was my body, under the faith, this is what you do. You don't cut your hair, you know what I mean? And I had my locks for maybe at that time, maybe about, I don't know, 15 years. Um, yeah, from 2006, about 15 years. So
Right.
I lost, so it was very long and thick and lustrous.
Wow.
Actually, I do have part of it
Oh,
that I
you
that I have.
kept. Look at the hair.
Yeah, this is just
Oh,
one of them.
yes.
It was two, and so it's my baby.
Wow, look
you
at
know.
that.
Um, so when I lost it, a lot of you know a lot of my normal things, like, walking down the street and hailing everyone. Yeah, Rastafari. you know what I mean, walking on my journey, and I'm still healing people, but they're just like, you know. So then I figured out, oh my God, I don't have my locks. So then that whole idea of that respect that you give the Rasta man or they give the Rasta woman, it was lost, you know what I mean? And I was like, so that in its own self really, really hurt. So then we went on to trying to get something of representation for me
Yes.
with, because I never had, um, I mean, this is my first time growing my hair like this, you know. Uh, since I was a teenager, I grew my hair in locks, you know what I mean? So this is my first time really, really growing my hair, you know.
Yes.
So when um when they couldn't they didn't have anything. I mean, and back in the day, they had nothing. I mean, they had a lot of synthetic wigs back in the day, and
Right.
I went through so many of them. You know, they said to me, "Well, you can try on as many as you like because you know your hair was different." Um, and with that, it was so frustrating. I mean, I'm saying that now, I'm getting very, very emotional because
Okay.
I ended up with a ginger, a very long synthetic wig because I didn't know what a normal wig would look like on my head because I've
Okay.
never done it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And all of them was straight hair or something else that I couldn't
Mhm.
understand. I mean, so this is why now I talk about things, how far we have advanced, because you are a trichologist, you know what I mean? And you are dealing with these specific things. I mean,
Yes.
if I had you back in the day, do you
Um,
understand? All
yes.
these feelings I would not have had to go through. I would have known that there's a loner out there, you know,
Oh,
in representation. You know,
yeah.
it's so like me,
Yes.
even self, I went to different places. So I took it upon myself and I went into one of the black areas and I got a wig, you know. But
Yes.
again, it wasn't anything that I didn't like it, you know. So I
Like,
didn't really use wigs. I just use a bandana or just rock a bald head, you know what I mean, you know? But I mean, me, so that was in my area, you know, that I went for the
yes.
wig. And one of
That's what you ended up.
the guys in the shop, you know, he said to me, because he knows me with my children walking, you know, so he says to me,
Yes.
What happened to your hair?" And when I explained to him and stuff, and this is why I often say, I believe the entire universe is working towards me, you know what I mean? He said to me, "Listen, I was coming back home from dropping the children from school, and he called me out and he said, come." And when I went into the shop, he said, there are these wigs like human hair, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
again, this is me not knowing. I knew nothing about wigs, you know what I mean?
No.
And so he showed me this one, and it felt like, you know, like I could put my hand in it. So I took that one, you know, and when I put it on, you know what I mean, he you know, he asked his worker if she could come and help me, and we put it on, and I felt really good about it. And then he said, I mean, back in the day, that was £49, which was a lot of money back in the day, you know what I mean, you
Of
know?
course.
And
This is.
he said, I'm going to give you this. He said, "I
Oh,
don't know your
wow.
name. I don't know you, but I see you every day. And when I saw you without your hair, I was like, what happened to her?" So this is why
Okay.
I say, you know, along the journey, I've always been blessed
Yes.
to receive and understand why I'm receiving, you know what I mean? Because people
Yes.
recognize or, you know, um, so losing my hair, to answer that question, I mean, that hurt like hell. That really hurt, you know what I mean? And but again, making the best story out of it.
Yes.
So in um in 2015, I did a calendar. So I don't know if you can see this one. This one is,
All right. It says,
so this is my
yes.
second lock, my first
Oh,
lock. And this is the
yes.
second one that I grew.
It's
It's
amazing.
been,
I
so
can see
this
it's
was
fantastic.
2015. Yeah. So it was to show that
Fabulous.
it fell off, but I'm
You,
stronger again. And then I
you,
lost
how did you
this
grow?
one.
Oh,
Yeah, so when I lost this
yes.
one, I turned it into a wig for a book called Rapunzel, which written by a London writer. And so Milox goes around with him in schools or to his places. So people then know what is that
Hello.
feeling, what
Yes.
Rapunzel could have looked like, you know what I mean? And it's just been taking the story, you know what I mean, taking the story and turning it into something beneficial. And I think
Yes.
over the years I've learned to do that really well. So another thing that I do to make me feel happy now with my hair,
Yes.
because I've worked out all the pain that I had to feel about it.
Right.
And but I've also, so when I'm going out and I want to feel that queenness, that full queenness, you know what I mean? I pull it up and I use it like, you know, so then people
Okay.
then people like, so I'm there and then I'm in my whole zone because this is me, you know what I mean? So I'm like, when I have my crown on, when I have this on, I feel like,
Yes.
you know,
Okay.
you
How
know.
do you
But I
attach that
mean,
to your head?
yes, I
How
attach it
do
in a ponytail.
all right.
Yeah.
And it stays
Yes, so I,
intact.
I sort of I sort of stitch it on, like not really
Okay.
stitch, but just a tack on.
Yes.
So
Yes.
put the hair in the ponytail and
Yes.
put it there. There were times that I just used to take it and put it, like, this is when I had my bald head, and the hair started to grow back a little bit.
Yes.
And I would just take it and put it there and wrap my head, you know what I mean? So I would feel, because I
Yeah.
mean, this is weight, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And yeah, and it was, I used to feel, and I still feel like sometimes I still feel you know, like,
Yes.
that type of way. So I call
Yes.
it phantom. I call it phantom locks. You know what I mean? People say they have a
Yes.
phantom boob. You know what I mean? But I'm always like,
Yes. Because you had your locks
you
for
know,
so long and it was part of
very.
your, what you said,
It
your
was,
identity. So can I ask you,
yeah.
when you were losing your locks, did you cut them? Did you literally cut them before your
What
treatment?
a perfect question, Lorna. Listen. Oh my God. So after 12 days on my first chemo, um, my hair, I started feeling thinning in the edges. So
Yeah.
I'll pull it and then I'll see it coming out. And by week two, 14 days in, I woke up one morning and I had my head tie on and I was just yawning. I was like, "Ugh." And when I did like that, I lift up my hair in the head tie, I felt something, you know, l- like if it just came off. And I was like, so I took off my head tie and I tell you, that was one of the hardest things. I was just like, and they were literally, because if you look at it, it's
Yes.
literally, it wasn't cut, it was pulled from the hair.
Yes.
It's,
Yes.
yeah.
The
So it just
roots.
started coming out. Bup, bup, bup. I mean, I think pulling strands of locks, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, just. this, you know, this,
So that would have been distressing.
it's, I mean, the memory of it was so bad. However,
Yes,
I call these my eye trees. There were three locks that would not come out. And this went into like 3, 4 weeks, you know what I mean? And they were just on the top right here, sort of in the middle right here. And
yes,
I asked my two boys after about 5 days if they could cut it because I mean the rest of it had already fallen. And I mean they have they have locks as well, you know what I mean? So you know they were just there, and I you know it's the whole thing. We're gonna grow back our hair, you know what I mean? I'm always making a song about something, you know what I mean? So you know, and I remember beating the little thing, ba-dum, 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 ba-bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, cutting we here, cutting we here, ba-bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, growing we here, growing we here. You know what I mean? So, and you know,
so
and they
powerful.
cut it, they cut those three on the top, and yeah, after that I became I, Lorna, I like this conversation. So after that, I became bold delicious. I invented that word.
Oh my word. I love that so much.
Listen, I was like, who's this? You know what I mean? So
Yes,
I was like, wow, you know, it was like, but it was just so, at that point of my life, it was literally, it was two people, you know what I mean? You know, it
yes,
was as if everything that you know of you, you know what I
yes,
mean, is gone, you know?
yes,
And everything
yes,
that you believed in so, so, so strongly, like, I mean, like, um, you know, I ate a certain way, I still eat a certain way, you know what I mean? I drank a certain way and stuff like that. And
yes,
um, all of these things, I was so vexed, you know what I mean? Like, I lived this good life, like, why, you know what I mean? But then I found out that I carried the genes. So this is what made a lot of understanding for me. You know, this is what made the whole situation a little bit easier. And but it still didn't. I still see myself with my locks. I still go to places, and I'm like, but why? You know, like I'm that person as, well, why are you not hailing me? You're Rastafarian. Why are you not hailing me? You know what I mean? You know, and then they'd be
yes.
like, who's this? Who's this woman? Just you know, like she's a real Rasta woman, but she doesn't have her hair. You know what I mean? You know, so
Oh, well, they didn't
yeah,
know, they didn't know to ask, but it's
yeah,
just how they felt and how you felt they were towards you,
mm-hmm,
isn't that? And that's about
mm-hmm,
learning, isn't it? About
mm-hmm,
educating and
mm-hmm,
fear as well, aren't they? Because they don't understand and
mm-hmm,
they don't want to ask, but
mm-hmm,
therefore it's something they couldn't grasp.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
yeah, it's about conversations and awareness and these, the nobody's having these these difficult
no, yeah,
conversations within maybe that whole setting, the Rastafarian movement. Why sometimes you won't have your hair, it doesn't mean that your faith has been shaken. It just means that you weren't able at that time to manifest
mm-hmm,
yourself in the way that
mm-hmm,
they normally used to see you. It's really
mm-hmm.
interesting. So can I
I
ask a
mean,
question? Sorry.
mm-hmm,
When you were going through your treatment in the hospital, did any
mm-hmm.
of your medical team ever speak to you about scalp cooling, which is one of the methods to reduce
No, so
things
I mean, this is 2006 we're talking about. You know, you're looking at things now, and it's like
2 years ago?
I saw that machine in the room, you know, in the rooms that I've been in,
Yes,
but no one ever said anything about it. And if I did ask, you know, to me, for me, I don't think. I mean, then when I got forward to 2000 to 2017, you know, they still didn't ask, but I, knowing myself, I'm that sort of advocate, you know what I mean, and
Yes.
I'm saying to them, so why is it not offered to me? You know what I mean? And it's offered
Um,
to every other person in here,
yeah.
and then they were like, oh, we didn't know that was into that. And I was like, how do you mean? I wasn't into it, you know what I mean? I said, no, 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 no. I said, I mean, I know now, you know what I mean? And I said to them, and I'm that person, I said, do you know you have a right to tell every single patient, every one of us, this is the situation, this might what happen. You don't have the choice to say, well, you have black hair, you have white hair, you have thick hair, you have green hair. You are not the person to
Yeah.
say that. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
however, I would not do scalp cooling for myself because I know to myself that I'm already taking chemo and I don't want to feel this thing on my head. You know what I mean? And so that's my only reason. However, um, I've seen it work in a lot of people's hair, you know, and maintain and especially like I had a friend in where I was in the hospital that I was, and she had black hair and her hair remained, you know. So it was good to see that it does work, you know what I mean, and how it works on our type of hair as well too. So, but in 2006, that was never ever up for questioning, never. And I mean, these things were there, you know.
Yes.
That
It's
wasn't
not
part
good.
of that journey. The care around cancer at that time wasn't as good as it is
It's
now.
now.
It's
Yeah.
nearly 20 years.
I understand.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's about raising awareness so that people can make informed, choices and
Mm-hmm.
decisions. So if it's
Mm-hmm.
it's not suitable for every type of cancer treatment, then at least
Mm-hmm.
if your oncologist says yes, it could work for for the treatment that
Mm-hmm.
they're offering you,
Yes.
then at least it's a
Yes.
choice that you can make. And I
Mm-hmm.
completely understand why you'd have that conversation. And well done to you, because sometimes people have the question in their mind, but don't
Mm-hmm.
voice it
Yeah.
because you accept things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes, we just accept what it is and don't
Yeah.
question it. But by
Yeah.
questioning it, by asking those questions, it allows you to learn, it allows you to develop, and
Mm-hmm.
it allows them to learn as well, because perhaps it never
Definitely. And it
occurred to them.
also holds them accountable, you know what I mean? Because after that, a couple weeks after that, I saw loads more of scalp cooling
Really?
around the
Oh, they
place.
yes.
They and I was just like, ha ha ha. You but this is the thing, in 20 years, I know that you have to wake up a system that is asleep on the things that
Yes,
benefits us,
yes,
because we need to be seen not only as Black people, but we need to be seen as people. Do you understand? Like, we're not supposed to be seen as a hospital number. You know what I mean? Like, I pull up doctors over the time. Like, if I go into, not meetings, appointments and stuff, and then they're questioning me about things, and I'm like, did you read your notes? Did you go on your computer to read your notes before you come to me? It seems not. I would appreciate if you just pull on your notes and just do a little bit, skim read 1 minute, 35 seconds, so that you
yes,
can get some information about me before we move forward. You know what I mean? Because I'm not repeating myself about something
yes,
that happened 4 years ago. And you now want to talk about that 4 years ago. This is the situation now. So I'm always
yes,
that patient that makes them understand that you can't do this. This is not happening
yes,
anymore. You know what I mean? And we have to I mean, yes, I'm an advocate, you know what I mean? But we have to be able to break our norms, our taboos, you know what I mean, around these places in order for it to change, because the system is set up in that way that
Yes,
it doesn't leave space for change, you know what I mean? So you have to speak loud, you know,
yes.
for them to
And
understand. And
yes, and for them to learn and develop within themselves as well. And it takes
mm-hmm,
it takes confidence as well. It takes your own understanding, knowing what you want, where you want to go to. So it's a lot, it's a lot of thoughtfulness, but it needs to happen in order
mm-hmm,
to move forward, because you will
mm-hmm,
be helping. I keep saying, obviously, you'll be helping yourself, but it's also you're helping someone else, because then next
yeah,
time, the doctor will be prepared for each of his patients
yes,
or her patients because of that
yes,
experience. And that's fine. It's not a
yes,
criticism, it's feedback, constructive,
of course.
for learning.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well done.
You know,
All
so
right, so
I'm
look,
just thinking I'm just thinking about my hair, you know. So when I went to the Marsden Hospital, um, one of the nurses, and this is why I'm saying advancements, So
yeah,
she came to me and she said to me, Hasna, I want to talk to you about your hair. And I said to her, I know I'm gonna lose it. So I just started the conversation. Yeah, I know I'm gonna lose it, blah blah blah. And then she was like, well, yeah, you're definitely going to use it because this drug will obviously take off all the hair. So I was like, all right. She said, but you are Rastafarian. And I literally looked at that nurse and I hugged her. You know what I
wow,
mean? I hugged her so tight and I was like, thank you so much for understanding. She's
yes,
like, well, this is a research nurse, right? So they have under the research they have us, they have to look after you, you know what I mean, in a full way.
okay,
And I always bigged up that department for doing that, for recognizing,
yes,
and they still talk about, oh, you remember your long locks when you came in here, you know what I mean, and I'm like, tell you girl, you know what I mean, so so I think
yeah,
again, this is why representation matters, you know what I mean, and cultural representation, you know what I mean. So by them understanding, so the reason why she knew about that is because, and she said to me, she shared her story, she said when she was in university, she had a boyfriend who had locks, you know what I mean? And I was like, look at that. And then she was like, yeah, everything was about this and that.
and
And
so
she
she
said, for
knew,
her, it was such a learning thing, you know what I mean? Like, wow. She said,
yeah,
do you think this? She said, this is like your body, you know what I mean? This is,
wow,
so I said to her, I said,
she knew,
yeah. I said, this
yes,
is
of
like
course,
taking off my limbs, you know what I mean? And then she was
yes,
like,
yes,
she said, I know, I know, I know, I know. That's why I had to, talk to
come
you
and
about
speak
it,
to me,
because I didn't want you to feel as if, you know, um, we didn't know. And she said in the meeting on that day, the morning meeting, she said I was going to speak to Hasna about her hair. So in their briefing, so I mean these things are very, very good to know that it's still taking place. And this is in research, right? So the things that happen in research becomes the standard, you know, in time. You know what I mean?
yes,
So these are little things that I know that this is why I love research and this is why I'm going to continue in research, you know what I mean? Because that's where protocol change takes place. That's where a lot of things happen, you know what I mean? And if I can get my foot in there, you know what I mean? Yeah.
yes,
That's why God put
the,
me here. That's my purpose, you know what I mean? God give
oh,
me a mouth, you know what I
yes,
mean? And He put me in
yes,
these places. Why I'm in these places? Do you understand? I'm not just in these places
yes,
to just take the medication, you know what I mean? I'm in these
to
places for
make,
a purpose,
Yes, absolutely. To make that
Yeah.
difference. And the fact she was thinking about it, so she brought her own personal experience into it while she
Mm-hmm.
had somebody very close, so she understood about it. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you may not have that, you may not know
Mm-hmm.
anyone, and you read about
Mm-hmm.
it, but sometimes when you can bring
Mm-hmm.
your own personal understanding, and that's why she was able
Mm-hmm.
to um
Yeah.
come and have that conversation with you, because she knows
Yeah.
how deep and profound
Mm-hmm.
it all meant
Mm-hmm.
to you in terms of your
Mm-hmm.
hair, in terms of your identity, in terms of your culture, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of your faith, all of these things. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they can be put to one side when the
Mm-hmm.
medical part of it has been dealt with, but they are just as important because it's how it makes you feel. And we do
Yeah.
know from research, women in the past have refused, chemotherapy if they're going to
Mm-hmm.
lose their hair. So there's
Yeah.
research studies. So it's
Yeah.
it's an important part of it. It's not the hub of it, but it's all the things that surround it that feed into that
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
central
Mm-hmm. One of
hub
the
that's
things I
happening.
also know too is like when you lose the hair, right, and then they're given this wig, you know what I mean? It's like if you have this different person, it's like
Yes,
it's
yes,
actually
yes,
as
I
if
understand that.
nothing, especially like if you never
Yes,
had that type of hair before, you know what I mean?
yes,
It's like an imposter, you know. I remember the first time putting on
yes.
this thing, and I was like, "Who?" And then
Who
I
is that
mean, for
person?
me, there's a lot of things that come with it, especially being Rastafarian, you know. I
Yes,
didn't know that these things get hot. Like, you know what I mean? I was in this,
yes,
I had a short one once, you know, and it was a summertime. And I decided, oh my God, I'm going to this place. I don't really want to do the bald headed thing. And so I had this short one.
yeah.
And when I got to the event, listen, I'm in the event and I'm sweating in my head.
Yes, yes, it's
I
because
took
of
it.
the layers.
I took it
Yeah,
off. I took it off. I took
okay.
it off. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm very sorry, but this has to come off. I'm so
He was
sorry.
uncomfortable.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So again, it's that imposter, especially if coming from a Rastafarian viewpoint. You know what I mean? It's like bald head, one tail. You know what I mean?
okay.
You know,
Yeah, yeah,
not in no bad way. You know what I mean? But in that kind of
yes,
thing, it's like, who is this person? And
yes.
the second time I remember with my daughter, so I made it with her. I just left it bald head. You know what I mean? So we went through a whole process again of singing songs. You know what I mean? Um, Bald head girl, your skin just like pearl. The
Okay.
best girl in the world is bald head. You know what I mean? And she had a doll that was bald headed. You know what I
Yes,
mean? So it didn't feel, you know what I mean, like, you know what I mean? Again, it's taking that story and turning it into life because it was part of me and part of my family. You know what I mean? So I can't just not do it.
yes, because
I
she
think
had
that's
to
one of the,
understand as well.
yeah. She still has a doll. The doll has passed down now to my granddaughter.
Oh, look at
And
that.
yeah, and she's bald headed, she's a teenage doll, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But my my granddaughter now has her in a like a baby grower. So
Uh-huh.
she's turned to
Ah,
but it's
ah,
bald head. And this
yes,
is why, you know what I mean? Because we are part of the situation. It's we
yes,
we are life, you know what I mean? This yeah, you lose all of these things, you know what I mean? But life has a way of showing you that it can come back and it will
that's
grow
right.
back. You know what I
Yes,
mean? And having this new experience now with all of this, my new hair and
yeah.
new hair experience. So I've tried uh, braids, I've tried blow drying. What else I've tried? Um, well, I set it sometimes, you know what I mean?
Yes,
So it's
but
a
it's
whole,
beautiful. Yes,
oh, it
It's
takes a lot of care though, you know. I take a
yes,
lot of care in my
yes,
hair. And
yes,
even this is one thing I wanted to say before. So when I lost my hair, right, I was so accustomed to oiling my scalp.
yes.
Um, in 2006, I just continued to oil my scalp. It had no hair.
You still took care of it.
I still
Yes,
did take care of it. And then I recognized, like, oh my goodness, I learned a lot of things through that
yes,
experience. So I was like, although I have a bald head, I need to wash it because it gets like this film on it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, and it was like, oh, so you know, it was just like learning. You know what I mean? And,
absolutely.
and then the hair texture sort of came back, because this hair now. So this is so I've lost hair twice again since losing
Yeah,
locks. So this is the second set of hair since 2017.
yes,
So, but I decided not to grow my locks back because I lost two sets of locks.
yes,
And the first experience was very difficult. The
yes,
second one was almost like, ah, oh, you know what I mean? And now I decided I can't do that again. And I will not do that again. I'm not going to put myself through that feeling of losing
yes,
my limbs. You know what I mean?
and
Yeah,
yes,
my antennas. I don't want to feel that way. Although this is my antennas, you know what I mean? But when it grows into form, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's something different, you know? But I
okay,
do all my natural products. I only do, I mean, I've only been Rastafarian. That's all I've ever used, natural products. You know, I'm never
okay,
like recently, I'm telling you, this was last year when I was 50. It was the first time that I've gone into a black hair shop. Like, what's all of this? Like, what's this
awesome.
spray? What's that? I've never ever been. So all of these things are learning for me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes,
I'm now learning these things because I only use shea butter, coconut oil. You know what I mean? My own mixes. You know what I mean? My own combination of stuff.
okay,
You know what I mean? So
yes,
when I'm going into these shops now, I'm like, wow.
yes, yeah,
I mean, there's so
yes.
much. There's so
And it's
much.
growing I mean, it just keeps growing the market, the product
Yeah.
market, all different products,
Yeah.
and you don't know what. So many different things are coming through, and people, it's
Mm-hmm.
from trial and error, or people just use what they're used to using, or you just try all these
Mm-hmm.
things, and you open up your cupboard, you've got all these
Mm-hmm.
different hair products in there, like what you just said in the shops. But no, it's been really, really enlightening speaking with you this morning to understand, um, and over the years how things have changed, and how you've been
Yeah.
able to approach it. uh, Now the fact that you're embracing natural hair without, and
Mm-hmm.
your decision for not locking it, which I completely,
Yeah.
understand, because even though we look at it and we think it's a low maintenance hairstyle, with locks, you still have to
Mm-hmm.
maintain them, and you nurture them, and
Of
you grow
course.
them.
Of course. I mean, like I tell everyone, you know, I mean, if you look at these are not small, you know what I mean? They're not small locks. They're big,
No,
giant locks,
yes,
you know what I mean? You know,
yes,
like, you know,
yes, I can see them.
and I mean, it's
Beautiful.
so healthy and you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so, I mean, I took a lot of care in my hair, even in my locks. I took a lot of hair. And I mean, when
yes,
people see people be like, "But how does it look so? It looks like it's so alive still." You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
and I mean, I just keep it well. You know, I even
yeah.
this I oil this and I wash it.
Really? Now?
Do you understand? So this is why
Wow.
it feels like that. I remember one
Oh,
winter I took it out
yeah.
and I was like, oh, not me today. Today I'm going for full wool.
Okay.
And I went out like this, and then everybody was like, "What's that?" I was like, "My locks." It
Right.
was like, "Oh,
Yes, you have.
Hasna,"
Don't touch my hair.
you know what I mean?
Amazing. Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
the children pull it out. I mean, the grandchildren pulling it out now. I use it and I wrap it around the grandchildren here. Sometimes I take one and I go out like this. You know what I mean? You
yeah.
know, so
Yeah.
um, it's part of me
Yeah.
still. You know, and then the
I
other one
understand.
is the book. So
Which is using to educate children in schools,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
just magnificent because
yeah,
some of them will not have, they get an opportunity now, not just to understand, they can
yes,
feel it, feel the texture,
yes.
understand how it grows, and understand
Mm-hmm,
the reasons why people
mm-hmm,
decide through faith or through
mm-hmm,
just general um a trendy style, isn't it? Because
mm-hmm,
obviously people just have locks because it's trending, because they like it. It's a different
mm-hmm,
way, men and women. And
mm-hmm,
of course, you've got lots through sort of faith and religion, which you've shared
mm-hmm,
today.
mm-hmm.
I'm hugely grateful for your time this morning, Hasna. Um, we appreciate some of the topics are difficult and they're very tricky for people to grasp and understand. But I think by sharing, as I keep saying, and as you know anyway, it helps somebody somewhere will
Yeah,
look back.
yeah.
Women who are preparing for chemotherapy and scalp cooling will with
Mm-hmm,
lots will phone me and ask me and how to prepare for
mm-hmm,
scalp cooling. And you're saying
mm-hmm.
years ago there wasn't so many people, different people talking about different things, and this is like a niche area, but we
Yeah.
recognize it's important because
Mm-hmm,
sometimes people express it, some people aren't able to express it where they are because of
mm-hmm.
course the medical treatment is paramount, and they think it's just cosmetic, and we know hair isn't just cosmetic. You explained
No, it's
today
deeper than that. Yeah.
it's way deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for your time.
Very
Greatly
welcome.
appreciate it, and
Very,
we'll
very
be in
welcome.
touch again. Thanks
You
so
know, one
much.
of the things, just one of the things I just remembered, I just wanted to share this, so um, I was part of patient participation involvement,
Okay.
and we're talking about the scalp cooling, one of these, and I said to them, I said, well, do you know there's black hair products? You know, to me, because they put is it conditioner? Is it
Yes.
they put a conditioner on the hair before um putting the scalp on, the machine on.
Yes.
So I said
The
to them,
cooling cap.
and this is because I found out this, you know what I mean? And I said to them,
Yes.
do you know there's black conditioners, like, it's just a bit better for our hair. I said the product is called Cantu because that was the one that I found was working with me. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I said to them, I said it's called Cantu. Can you look for that, please? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
um
There's a
I mean, these things are in meetings, you know what I mean? So then it has to go through the system to go, oh, should we
yes for you
order
to
this? Da da da
understand.
da da da. You know what I mean? The whole process, But I am that person. So look out for Cantu in for black hair in the
And
new
see.
scalp cooling places because like, hello, how do you expect me to use that brand? How do you know that brand
Yeah.
works with my hair? Do you understand?
That's right.
So
And with the different curly texture, there'll be thick, I mean, like Design Essentials do some of there's a number of them have sort of thick conditioners to be able to condition the hair so that the
yes,
um um cap will fit and this whole process will
yes,
work. But it's
yes.
good to let them know that there are different products out there that different hair types will you need different hair um, different
Products.
products. And it's important
Mm-hmm.
that people are able to prepare their hair
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
time for
Yeah.
the whole process so that it
Mm-hmm.
works at the best way it can do. That's brilliant. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for sharing that. It's brilliant.
that's all
And
right.
again, thanks so much for your time. Really do
All right.
appreciate speaking with you this morning.
All
Thank
right.
you. All
All
the
right,
very
Una. Thanks a
best.
lot. Thanks for
Thank you
having me
so
on.
much.
All right. You take care.
Thank
All the
you.
best.
Appreciate it.
Love.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye.